someone who's been absolutely vital to the work that we're doing in the Retail Media Committee at IAB Europe, Yara. She is our retail media consultant. She's spearheading the work that we're doing on standards, which, in my opinion, is probably the most important piece of work that we're taking on this year. So I'll hand over to Yara.
So following, I don't think I'm on. Am I not on?
Yeah.
I am? Okay, fantastic. So following what Daniel just said, there's a lot of boring things we need to do to make the hype real. And this is some of the boring, but I think very important things. And if we get it right, we could grow the entire industry. The reason we're focused on standards is from a survey we ran and from all the conversations we've been having, not having standards in place is what's hindering growth and investment, or is the key factor that's hindering growth and investment. When a buyer, an agency, a brand is going out there and activating their retail media, they don't know what they're comparing, right? They don't know if they're buying on Tesco, how does that compare to a buy on Asda or on Ahold? And being able to remove that guesswork will drive scalability. So what we've done at the IAB is held the standards workshop. There was a couple of people who are present here today who were in that meeting in London, a number of retailers. So Bull was there, Albert Heijn was there, Tanguy was there. And so we had 14 retailers from across Europe all sit in a room and say, what could they possibly commit to that would really be a basis, a standard? And this is V1 that we're working on. We know there's a lot more that we need to do, but what could be V1 of standards for measurement, media and measurement metrics? And we want it to be hyper-focused. That work is coming out in 2 days. I'm very excited. I can't believe it's been 4 months in the works. We met on January 24th. It's being released on Thursday. So please keep an eye out for it. And we want it to be extremely, extremely focused in what we did. So we focused, if we think about the IAB definition of retail media, we focused on the narrowest sense of it, which is on-site and off-site. We didn't touch in-store yet. We know there's a lot to be done there. We didn't touch out of home. We didn't touch any of those things. We really focused on on-site and off-site. And even within that, we know we didn't touch the whole ecosystem. We focused on what we think is achievable today, and we know there's more to come. So within media metrics, we talked about things like viewability, impressions, SIVT, ROAS, when it came to attribution, and then we started talking about some insights. Things like incrementality, we touched on, but we know there's more work to be done. There's a lot of work that was also done across different IAB bureaus and the IAB US. We integrated all of that, as well as some things that's being released by France or something that was just released by Germany a couple of months ago. And we've tried to take them all in and create, again, metrics that are uniform across the board where possible. So talking about media metrics, I'll go through this really quickly. We basically took, again, everything that the US did. Sorry, I'm going to go faster because otherwise Mary Claire will eat me up for going over time. So one thing I'm going to go on is look back windows. We received a lot of feedback on look back windows. It's probably the largest piece of feedback. So please, please bear with me. I'm going to try to explain this. We decided on a 30-day look back window as a stake in the ground. So what that means is when there's a ROAS number, the first number you will see when you log into a dashboard or when you get a report is 30 days. But retailers have a responsibility to offer you flexible windows. So what that means, again, is if you are buying on Albert Heijn and it is grocery, your look back window might be 7 days. As long as it fits within that 30 days, that's totally fine. They do need to give you flexible windows. The stake in the ground, the default is 30 days. Some other IABs have agreed on there's maybe multiple windows. We didn't want to do that because guess what? We still don't have a definition of categories. So for us to say it's going to be 7 days for CPG, well, we don't know what's in CPG yet. Or I don't know if we will be able to define CPG. So we felt like that would be too confusing. Again, 30 days is stake in the ground, flexible windows. I hope that's clear for everyone. Another thing is we discussed same SKU and Halo attribution. Same SKU, clear for everyone. Halo is same brand and same category. Again, for now, category is defined by the retailer catalog. It's not defined by anything else because we don't have a common definition of catalogs or categories. We talked a little bit about sales extrapolation, and we said that a retailer needs to disclose when they're extrapolating. They should just say yes or no if they're disclosing. Then we went into insights a bit, and I'll go through this again quite fast. We talked about new to brand and repeat shoppers. We also talked about sales value. All of that is coming out again in 2 days. You can read the report. We tried to keep it quite concise. It is V1. There's going to be a future iteration by the end of the year. We also talked about sales uplift and IROAS. The only thing we said about incrementality is you can have both a deterministic and a probabilistic approach. You just need to disclose which one you're using or if you're using a combination of both. Future iterations of the work will include a bit more nuance into what is incremental and what's not, and we'll be working with the retailers again to push that forward. So another thing we talked about is third-party verification. Third-party verification was agreed upon that it's important. It's provided by third-party ad tech companies, and it's up to the retailer's discretion to decide who they want to work with, how they want to offer it, and in which capacity. And then another thing is we're very aware that there's a limitation at the end of the day in terms of branding components. So there's a lot of things in terms of pure attribution and being able to say, has a sale occurred and is there a ROAS attributed to it? But what we still as an industry don't fully know is how do we define brand awareness campaigns? And as retailers are asking to go further up the funnel, we're going to have to figure that out. So that's going to be future iterations of the work. And finally, there's certification. So all of this is going to lead to some certification because obviously, we can't talk about standards before we get without getting to certifications, verifying those. We don't know yet how what's going to happen there. There's a body in the US that does it. In Europe, there isn't. So we're trying to think of ways to incorporate that, and that's on our roadmap. So I'll go into a little bit of the timeline just to give you a sense of the next steps and what we're bringing in. So we are releasing V1 for public. We released V1, for public comment, April 25th. So on Thursday, you'll have V1 of measurement standards will be published. And we just kicked off works on format standardization. And I'll talk about what format standardization is in a second. Then we'll release that in May. We'll go into the final format standards being published in June, so kind of around mid-June. Then we'll go into in-store. Then after that, we'll release another version of the measurement standards that will include in stores and any adjustments we've seen based on any feedback we've heard. And we're going to kick off a new stream, which we'd love your feedback on, and I'll talk about the options for the streams. And then after that, in that process, we'll also be looking at certification. And by December, we'll launch a schema for certification, not certification, but a schema for it of what it could look like so that retailers can then have the time to decide how and when they want to get certified. And is there a brand-facing certification schema as well? Does that resonate, make sense? So just on format standardization, to give you a bit of background, we just launched this. Basically, on the display side on site, there's a lot of different formats that have popped up. Not all of them, or most of them, are not IAB standard. We're working to see if there is retail-specific formats that need to be developed and adopted by the IAB. This is a work stream that's been kicked off by the IAB Europe and the IAB US in parallel. We are working with a number of retailers, but this is not meant to be an exclusive group. So if anyone has feedback, please flow it in. A number of agencies as well as brands, and they've all given us all the formats that they're currently adopting, and we're trying to standardize that.